Radio V. Radio in TV. Radio in TV.
All right, TradioV Inside Metal. We're going to do something a little bit special on this show. We've got the Cathouse Special, we're going to call this episode. I was invited for the big media party that for the live event that Cathouse is doing August 15th at Irvine Meadows in California. It's going to be a big concert featuring tons of great 80s metal bands that have performed at the legendary club, the Cathouse. Of course, everyone, or most of you should know, most of you inside metal viewers should know about the Cathouse. It was a fantastic nightclub that ran from, I believe, 1986 to 1993 in Hollywood, run by Riki Rachtman and Taime Downs from Faster Pussycat. And that was the headquarters for the Hollywood rock and roll and a hard rock and metal scene of the late 80s. Everyone from Guns N' Roses to Alice Cooper to Motorhead to Megadeth to Suicidal Tendencies to Alice in Chains played at the Cathouse, and I was so lucky to see many of those shows, and I was very lucky to be invited to this event. So we're going to go ahead and run some of the interviews I did at this event last week, July 15th at the Rainbow Bar and Grill. So we're going to go ahead and start off the interviews with the great Riki Rachtman, of course, the host of the Cathouse, who has put together this great show along with Taime Downs and the good people at Live Nation. And we're going to go on to also interviews with Nuno Bettencourt from Extreme, who are going to be one of the headliners at the Cathouse event. Also, Gilby Clarke. Gilby's putting on a big all-star jam for the event. And, of course, everyone knows Gilby, the former guitarist for Guns N' Roses and a Rockstar Supernova and all sorts of great stuff. And we also got Jaime St. and Pete Holmes from Black and Blue going to be featured in this segment, I believe in the second segment. Also, the guys from Little Caesar, great hard blues rock band from, I believe, late 80s, early 90s. They're going to be performing the Cathouse event as well. We also got Stevie Rachelle from the band Tuff, and he also does the Metal Sludge website. That'll be coming up a little bit later in the show, along with the Cathouse press conference that took place. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This is the TradioV Inside Metal Cathouse Special. Cool. We got Riki Rachtman here for the Inside Metal Show on TradioV, a former host of the TradioV, Fork in the Road, right?
Yes, I did a show on TradioV, the best show that was ever there. No, I TradioV.
That was a good show.
TradioV, I thought it was.
They took it off?
No, they didn't take it off. I kind of took it off. Because it was a lot of work. Because, but it was nice that TradioV gave us, and Mike, and gave us the format to really do whatever we want, and I think we had a good show. But it's nice because people that watch the shows there, they're seeing raw shows that are put on by the talent. You know, they're not. It's good. It's nice to have that avenue as well.
Absolutely. You're no stranger to radio shows. I mean, you have the show on KLSX, the radio, the Riki Rachtman show.
Yeah, I did talk radio in LA.
Headbangers Ball.
And I've got a radio show now. I've been doing a radio show for 13 years. It's on 120 stations called Racing Rocks, and I talk about NASCAR and play rock and roll, and that's what I've done for a living for over a decade. And then I do other things like throw little concerts and stuff like that.
That's right. But we're here to talk about the Cathouse, the big show, August 15th at Irvine Meadows. Not Verizon, Irvine Meadows.
Right. That's important because we all went to Irvine Meadows.
We
didn't. We might have gone to Verizon, but we went to Irvine Meadows.
Yes.
And that was at a time before corporate sponsors bought all the venues. You know, I don't know if I'm going to Blockbuster or San Manuel, or it's always changing. But this was Irvine Meadows when we went there.
Absolutely.
And now it's going to be Irvine Meadows for Cathouse Live August 15th.
Very, very cool. Looking forward to that. And of course, the Cathouse, a club that I frequented all the time in the late 80s and the early 90s.
80s up through the early 90s. And you know, that's interesting. That's, you know, the Cathouse is always known as a glam, you know, featuring all the glam bands, which you did. But I saw so many. I saw Megadeth or Jam with Megadeth.
Exodus.
I saw Motorhead, Exodus, Alice in Chains. I saw there.
Pearl Jam.
Motorhead. I didn't see the Pearl Jam show.
They opened up for Alice in Chains. They were called Mookie Blame.
I saw that at the Florentine Gardens. Yeah. What was that? Was that like a basketball player's name or something?
Yeah, it was a guy that I think played for the New Jersey Nets.
Yeah, that's right.
I think I'm wrong, but oh well, I'm a Clipper fan. So.
Well, there you go. But so many great bands that played the Cathouse. You know, apart from all these, most of these bands playing here. And you know, it's so cool to have a show, a big festival show in LA, because you know you have Rocklahoma, you have the M3 back east, and I'm thinking, all
Never
these bands,
heard of them.
Yes.
Let me tell you something, okay? First of all, if we did Cathouse Live in any other state, it would have been sold out right away, and that's a fact. The other festivals that you're talking about, one of them, the lawn seats were $45. Our lineup is way better than those other ones, and I'm not talking bad about those other ones because a lot of people go and they put on bands that people haven't seen for a long time. So I'm not insulting any of the other festivals. However, our lawn seats are $15. I think our lineup is stronger than any of those other shows, and we have got a lot going on. And you know, people said, "Oh, why are you doing it in California? Why are you doing it in California?" And it is going to be harder. If we do like we're doing already, who knows what's going to happen? Because next year's the 30th anniversary of the Cathouse.
All right.
So I'm glad we're doing it in California because that's where the Cathouse is from. And it was easier to get like a lot of the Hollywood Cathouse bands to play.
And the thing about the Cathouse, which is so great, it was on a Tuesday night every week, and what was it, about a 600-700 seat place, capacity, even more maybe. You would stuff 1,000 people in every Tuesday, packed. Even when you didn't have bands play there, it was packed. And that was the cool thing about the scene then, the late 80s up to the early 90s.
So right.
Even on a Thursday, you had Bordellos, which I went to a lot. You know, on Sunday, you had Exposure 54. On Thursday, the Thunderdome. Every night of the week, there was a great rock and roll venue, but the Cathouse was the tops. I mean, that was the shit.
You said something that was really cool about the scene then. You mentioned that even if there wasn't a band playing, there was packed. And that's because people went out. They knew every Tuesday for so long they went to the Cathouse. Oh, I didn't know that tonight Guns N' Roses are playing. Oh, and next week it's the Rockaway Beach Party. They just went out.
Yeah.
You know, and that was good. Now it's hard to get people to go out.
Yeah, and from ever, I was in Huntington Beach at a time where you lived for a while. I know before moving to
you know too much. You know too much about
I know this guy. I've known this guy from way back in the day. But anyway, I used to come up from Huntington Beach on a Tuesday night all the time just to go to the Cathouse. You know, I mean, it was a great. Now, I was going to ask you, did you talk to some of the other bands, like say like an Alice in Chains or whatever, to mix up the bill, or was there?
Well, there was two bands that I approached personally, that I asked them, and one band, which I wanted to be the last band, and I wanted them just to be totally surprised, is I really wanted to put Cheap Trick on the bill, and I asked, never.
Oh, okay, that's a say.
But I asked them personally, and they said they would do it, but they were out with Frampton. And then I asked Alice Cooper personally, because Alice Cooper did play the Cathouse on Halloween.
I was there.
And Alice Cooper were doing a show with Motley. And then there were people like Slash, and I wanted Slash's band to play. And he said he might do something for the 30th, but who knows? Who knows who's going to show up for sure, you know? But there were a couple bands that I asked, and they couldn't. You know, there's certain bands that couldn't. And but who knows who's going to show up for the All-Star Jam either.
Yeah, that's true. So you talked about the 30th. Do you have something special going on next year for the 30th?
It all depends what happens this year.
Ooh.
I will tell you this, that last year I did the Cathouse on the Monsters of Rock cruise.
Right.
And it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I am, which a lot of people don't know, is I am going to do the Cathouse next year on the Monsters of Rock cruise, and I'm going to have Faster Pussycat and the Choir Boys, and I'm going to do some theme stuff and make it really, really cool. So I'm going to do some Cathouse things, and for the 30th anniversary, yeah, I mean, I've had 3 months to work on this show. I've got over a year to work on Cathouse Live. That if everything goes as it's going right now, I mean, right now things are going really good. If it continues to go that way, I would think think about what I'm going to do for the 30th anniversary. But I will tell you this, there's not a chance in hell there's going to be a 40th anniversary because I'm going to, no. Yeah. It gets to be a point that it's like I'm a creepy old guy right now. I don't want to be the creepy old guy. And no disrespect to the great
We're all creepy old guys.
No disrespect to the great Bill Gazzari, but I don't want to be that old dude, which I already am. I don't want to be the even older dude upset like, it's the 40th anniversary of Cathouse. And coming up we have, this band who's only got a son of an original member. So I don't want to do that. Right. When it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. But
is the old venue at 836 Hyman, is that still around? Can you do the 30th there?
No. It's not a live venue anymore. I don't remember what it was.
That was the greatest place to do.
It was
people
really
that weren't
cool.
there was like 7 or 8 different rooms. I mean, there's no clubs like that around them.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do with Cathouse Live. Is it's Irvine Meadows, but I want to have a chopper show. I want to have go-go girls. I want to have some cool vendors. I'm actually a reverend now.
I saw that.
Yes, I am.
So if anyone needs to get married, call this man.
Call this man.
He'll even dress up as Elvis.
No, I will not.
All right.
I would not disrespect.
It was worth a try.
Elvis. I'm going to marry 2 couples, I believe, maybe, at least one at Cathouse Live, and we're going to have that. We're going to have, a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to have a big, huge pink Cathouse booth, and there's going to be some people signing autographs there, some iconic figures from our era, and it'll be pretty fun.
Very cool. Well, I think we pretty much covered everything, man. Again, August 15th at Irvine Meadows in Irvine, California. Come on out. The Cathouse
Go get your
Live.
tickets at cathouselive.com. On Facebook, it's Cathouse Hollywood. On Facebook, Cathouse Hollywood. But the website to buy the tickets is Cathouse Live. And you can follow me on Twitter at Riki Rachtman, because August 3rd, I'm going to do a big motorcycle ride. I'm going to do 1 lap around America. I'm going to ride to California from North Carolina for Cathouse Live. And then Tammy and I are going to ride from California to the tip of the Florida Keys and then to North Carolina. So there's going to be a lot of riding this summer, too.
Awesome. Ricky, always a pleasure, my friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You got it, man.
And hey to all my friends at TradioV.
I will. Thanks.
Thank you.
TradioV Inside Metal Show got Nuno Bettencourt from Extreme.
Oh, me. How you doing, man?
How you doing, man? Good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you, bro.
It's been a while. I was just telling them the first time I saw him was at the old Foundations Forum. What was that? 1980 Concrete Foundations.
Yeah, that was a while back. I think that was
or-
us. Pantera played with us.
That's
it was
right.
Kind of crazy.
At the hotel ballroom
Yep.
in LAX. It was awesome. And a great show, man. Always a great live band. I think so many people remember Extreme from the More Than Words, but Extreme was such an incredible hard rock funk. You added so many different flavors. You weren't your typical,
The people who remember More Than Words are the people mainstream area, but the people that rock in the rock world and the fans, they know what Extreme does live. Man.
Right on. And growing up in the Boston area, of course, everyone knows Aerosmith and so many great bands that have come out of Boston. What was that like in the early '80s and in the '80s playing the Boston circuit? And I guess you went up to New York and did a lot of shows up there.
Yeah, look, we played everywhere in New England. Connecticut and Rhode Island a lot, Boston, New Hampshire.
Right.
all Maine. We would come down to New York once in a while, but look, it was at that time, even though it was West Coast had its thing, East Coast had a lot of great clubs, a lot of bands coming up. Everybody was kind of competing with each other to get out here and to do their thing, and it's very cool,
Yeah, and it's cool that you're playing, of course, August 15th with a lot of the LA bands. It's good to see that we've got some East Coast bands here, and of course, you had, like you said, there was kind of a separate scene, the New York scene. You had, Twisted Sister and a lot of the other bands that have been gigging around the New York scene for quite some time, and you kind of took over LA. I remember seeing you in LA quite a bit.
We did gigs with Dangerous Toys, Saigon Kick, obviously Cinderella, Sebastian. Faster Pussycat. It's amazing that they pull. It's like a little high school reunion going on here. It's kind of cool.
And of course, everyone knows you've been on the road with Rihanna for quite some time, and you got Extreme back together. How is the difference, being from a hard rock background? I got a good friend of ours, Monty Pittman, who plays with Madonna, and he's also in Ministry and has his own solo thing. He's a total metalhead. Is it hard for you to kind of, you obviously have to have a very diverse style to play for pop music and dance, R&B, and then go into...
the distinct difference is that Rihanna's got a much... much better ass than Gary does.
Well,
to look
there you go.
at.
Although Gary's got a pretty nice ass.
Wow,
say that.
he didn't say that out loud. No, but hey, man, you know, it's like it's.
That's rock and roll for you.
We're at the Rainbow. There's got to be at least one more second. I would imagine it's probably Gilby Clarke. I'm gonna bet that it's
What's
Gilby.
The bets? Bets on Gilby or Riki?
Yeah, it's actually Riki probably just left. It's Riki.
Probably Riki.
It's Riki.
Riki's got to show off his bike.
Gilby Clarke is there.
Oh, well, there you go.
It's a
so
car.
I guess he
That
was
was
right.
a fucking car. Wow. Times have changed.
Yeah.
People have made more money than they should. Used to be just motorcycles. Now it's cars.
So when did Extreme get back together? I know Gary had his Hurt Smile project.
No. I mean, we've always been pretty much somewhat together. You know, we've just taken breaks, and we take long breaks, short breaks, and you know, we've been touring, we've been doing dates, we've been going, still going, doing a new album now. You know.
You got a new drummer, or because I know your
yeah.
drummer is a big time manager. These
Yeah.
days, right?
We've had Kevin, this new guy, Kevin Figueredo, who's an incredible drummer, added a lot to the band. He's been with us. God, he's been with us for 8 years now, 7 years. So yeah.
Right on, man. So do you have a new record coming out? Or are you
Yes.
doing some
Yeah,
new-
we're working on a new album. Yes.
Very cool. Can you talk a little bit about it?
It's gonna sound like Extreme, which I never know what that means.
Yeah,
Every
very
album
cool.
is very different from album to album, so we'll see. We kind of just wait and see what happens.
Now, did you guys all come from like a funk R&B background? Because you added a whole different flavor to what they call, you know,
Metal.
the hair metal scene or whatever. But it's
Yeah,
definitely-
that was always a great thing, and it was always a hard thing for us because people didn't know what the fuck to do with us. But we always liked the funk stuff. Even the rock bands that I grew up with, even Van Halen, I would always go towards the funkier side of Van Halen, or Aerosmith, or even Zepp had their kind of funkier side. So that was always attractive to me. And of course, grew up a lot on Prince and Parliament and James Brown, stuff like that. So it was always a part of what we did. I always wanted to do a heavier version of that.
Right on. Well, I appreciate it. And once again, August 15th.
Be there, man.
Irvine
Fucking
Meadows,
crazy.
man. It's going to be nuts. Nuno.
See you there.
Pleasure, man.
Peace.
All right, serious business
Okay,
here.
ready, guys?
Serious business. Radio voice, everybody. Okay, here we go.
Let's just play. We should put music on and just dance for a minute.
Wait. I have to stop and say one thing. I have to say 2 words.
Hey.
So join us and the rest of the TradioV.
Ready? Are we on? Give me some music. Watch this. Ready?
Wait, are we rolling? No.
Oh, is this real? Like, I was just totally
Is it started?
kidding.
Oh, let's start again. Start again. Say that. Okay, start again.
Keep going.
I could do real jazz. Do jazz hands.
Start
That
again.
was a shtick. I was doing a shtick.
Well,
The
it
hair
didn't-
is blonde, it's dye.
the roots
Just because
are
you
short.
don't have any hair and he doesn't have any hair and I have all this
All right,
fake
start
hair.
again. Start again.
Fine.
How's the hair and the?
I feel like I'm in a puzzle.
Start again.
Any show you can have, I can have better.
Any show you can have, I can have better.
Are we filming all this? Yep. That's awesome. This is the good stuff. You're short and you know it. I know it was a lot of hodgepodge, but that's good, right?
Yeah,
Hodgepodge is good to cut.
Let's do the intro one more time.
Menopause.
Inside Metal Show on TradioV with Black and Blue, Jaime St. James, and Pete Holmes,
Drummer and vocalist. Actually, you were a drummer originally.
I was a long time ago, yes.
For Wild Dogs, right?
I was in Wild Dogs. He was too, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Or you're Oregon too.
Yeah.
The whole band.
This son of a bitch has been following me around all my life.
Very cool. Well, the band's back together again. Jaime St. James, I know you had a lot of solo projects in between. Of course, you were playing with MSG for quite some time, touring Pete. So how'd the band get back together? I know you did a few festivals here and there, like M3. And
Well, we did, but we've been together longer than that. We did a record called Hell Yeah, and that was during the time period when I was singing for Warrant. And then when that ended, we got to kind of get full time back into it. And once we got that thing done, we just started playing shows again and testing the waters. People are like, "Oh, where have they been?" You know, because we were gone for quite a while, from 89 till 2000 something. We weren't really playing much. We did a live record in 90 something, but just started playing, and it's escalated from there, and we're really well received. Everybody loves seeing us live. It's great.
absolutely. And one of the cool things, it is, I believe, the all original lineup or the classic lineup.
Well, there's as much as it can be. Myself, Pete Holmes, and Patrick Young on bass, original from day one. Tommy Thayer's in Kiss.
Oh,
what am I going to do?
What are you going to do?
Come on.
Unless I sneak over to Gene's house in the middle of the night and knock him out dead, I'm not getting Tommy back. Just kidding. And Jeff Whoop Warner is going through some illness, so we have 2 different guitar players.
And you're doing all the old classic songs. You've got some new stuff too as well.
We do. Basically, we play all the classic stuff. We do like maybe 1 song off the new Hell Yeah record. I call it new. It's been 4 years now, but that's the latest thing. But normally we play all the old stuff, right, Pete?
Yeah. I mean, all the old classics, everything you hear that you loved off of the first and second records. I mean, it's just great stuff. I think the band's running on all cylinders right now. I mean, it's a pleasure to play this with this band. And I'll tell you something. This band really never broke up. It's always been there. It's just a matter of when can we get together? How can we keep it moving? So, it's always been there. It's always been happening.
And I'll say myself and Carl here, we're there from the beginning. Saw the first show at the Country Club with Wild Dogs. You played. I think that was one of your first shows.
Well, that wasn't the first one. I think our first shows, we did a weekend at Troubadour and Whiskey. Dee Dee Keel booked us. She was the girl at the Whiskey booking, and we came down from Oregon and played our first 2 shows. I think that's right.
Yeah. I had your first demo from a friend, KJ Dalton. I don't know if you're a Northwest Metal fanzine.
Yeah.
He sent me the Change Around Heaven, I'm the King, and
was it
Violent Kid?
Violent Kid. There you go. The 3 songs. And he says these guys are going to be moving to L.A. and you got to go see them. So, and the funny thing is, you guys came to L.A. and you were one of the first to get a deal out of all the L.A. bands.
Motley Crue and Quiet Riot were first. We were third.
Right, but that's pretty awesome because you did how many shows before? I mean, not
we played for about. Well, we got here in '82 and we got signed in '83, so a year, 1 year.
Awesome.
And we built up. Look, the first few shows, no one was at.
Right.
We did a show at Madame Wong's, and there were 6 people there.
Madame Wong's West.
Yeah, Madame Wong's West. 3 of them were our girlfriends, and 1 of them was Ron Keel. And then there was 2 other people that paid, $5 to get in.
Yeah.
No one was there. But our next show after that was at the Troubadour, and I don't know what switched, but it was packed.
Wow.
And from that point on, they were waiting lines around the block to get to see us. So, all right. I don't know what switched, but at that Madame Wong's thing, I think I should just go home.
And of course, Jaime St. James is going to be on our next title, the LA Metal Scene Explodes Inside Metal, which is going to be coming out later this year. So,
from what I remember, it's pretty darn good, at least my part.
Absolutely, it definitely is. So we're going to have that, and of course, August 15th, the Cathouse show at Irvine Meadows, not Verizon, Irvine Meadows. So when was the last time you played Irvine? I know you played there before.
Might have been either with Dio or Night Ranger back in 80-something.
Yeah?
Yngwie and Lita.
Was it Yngwie?
Yngwie and Lita.
Yngwie and Lita, he knows more than I do.
He'll know the exact date. What was the date?
It was May 88.
All right.
At Irvine
Meadows.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll call you up next week and ask you when I was born. Because I don't know.
January 28.
He'll know the hour.
27.
Get out of here. What is this guy?
1959.
He's sick like that.
Where did you find this robot?
Unreal.
That's why I have him as my producer, man. We'll do interviews and people will go, what was the date? He'll know, right? He'll know the weather.
So
what the weather was
I
like.
forgot we played with those guys, and you're right. Because that was after those other shows.
That was in the heat.
That's crazy. In heat, yes.
Any questions you want to ask, Carl?
I've done my part.
All right, once again, man, Black and Blue. Great to see you guys back together again. Jaime St. James.
Thank you.
Pete Holmes, amazing drummer. I love you. You're an
He's
amazing
great.
singer.
He's
He
great.
is. I
You
mean,
got to be good to play with Michael Schenker.
yeah.
Because he crack a German whip right up your ass.
And I gotta say, I'll put it on camera. I thought you were much better when I saw Carmine play with them. I thought the pace slowed down much better.
Yeah.
They need Pete Holmes back. I mean, no offense to Carmine, he's awesome, but the songs kind of dragged a bit.
Everybody's different. I have a great time playing with Mike. I'm lucky, but playing with Black and Blue, that's home, man. When we're on stage, that's home to me. Those are my brothers playing there. So make sure you get to the show. Make sure you get to the show. Here it is, ground zero of the 80s rock scene. Be there. There's nothing else to say.
Any last words there, Jamie?
No, I'm laughing at him. No, it is true. I mean, everybody belly aches for a festival on the West Coast, 80s festival, like it happens all the time in the Midwest. Now's your chance. Go and support, because maybe we can have some more, because it's here. It's finally here.
There you go.
Yep.
And check out Inside Metal. Jaime St.
Yeah.
Take
in
care.
the movie.
Check it out. Bye.
All right, here we are at TradioV Inside Metal Show with Gilby Clarke. What's up, Gilby? How are you, man?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Happy to be a part of this.
Very cool. I was just talking about the Candy Days. First time I saw you was at the big street scene. I think 86.
Oh, seriously? Oh
Was
my
that
God!
86?
I don't. My years are bad, but what I remember about the street scene was
The riot.
it was exactly, man. It was a lot of trouble during those years, man.
Yeah.
I remember people were trying to steal gear as we were like going through with our truck and everything, man. That was a crazy time.
It was nuts. I was right in the middle of it. The Ramones had canceled, and then there's bottles flying everywhere. My buddy's like, "Let's get the fuck out of here."
Yeah,
That
it was
nuts.
dangerous. A dangerous time.
It was
man.
scary. I think that was the last time they had it there too.
Yeah, I think
And
so
you guys
too.
got to play.
Yeah, well, we even played the year before, and what's funny is there was this very unknown band that opened. We were a headliner the year before, and the band that opened for us was called Run DMC.
Oh wow.
Is that nuts?
That is crazy.
That's what I remember.
That's how early on this was.
Exactly.
Yeah, right on. And of course, you did going back to Candy. You did one album on Polygram.
Yeah, we did a record on Polygram. Yeah, that was like the early 80s.
Yeah, and that was, I don't know, because as I say, you guys were kind of, because I remember the early 80s, obviously, with Rat and Wasp and Black and Blue and all these early bands, you were before the Poisons and the Bats and Pussycats and the Guns N' Roses way, but you never really, you kind of started that that whole kind of scene before it really, you were a little bit before your time.
Exactly. I kind of thought with Candy, when I joined the band, it was very much like a pop band. When I joined it, I made it more of a rock band. But I always felt that we were still like a little too light. Like bands, like Poison and LA Guns really did it right. I always thought that they were just a lot more rock. I mean, we weren't as glammy either. We were a little more dark-haired and stuff.
Right.
But I just thought if we were just a little heavier, we would have had a better shot.
Right, cool. And then from there, how did the transition go into Guns N' Roses? I know you've done some stuff prior.
Oh yeah, well after Candy, I had a band called Kill for Thrills, which Todd Muscat from Junkyard was in Kill for Thrills. Yeah, and so we did a record, and after that record is when I got a call from Slash, to join GNR. Izzy was leaving the band, and one of my friends was Josh Richmond, and I asked Josh, I go, are they really looking for a guitar player? And he goes, yeah. He goes, well, I'll tell Slash. So Slash called me, and that was it. I was the only guy they auditioned, came in, played a couple songs, and I got the gig.
Was he familiar with you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all of us knew each other from back in those days. Izzy was really the only one I knew well, because Izzy and I kind of go way back. We were that first, trend of guys and stuff like. There's a very small group of guys that liked the rock scene, but always liked the punk rock scene. If you remember, they were very separate back then.
Absolutely.
So, like, Izzy and I would be the ones that we would see each other at the Germ show, and then we'd, be at the Starwood watching another band play or something.
Was Izzy in LA during that time?
I don't. He might not have been the Starwood days, but he was definitely in it during like the Germs and Troubadour and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I remember he was here way before Axl and those guys got there.
Okay, cool. So I know Slash and Steven, obviously.
They were younger. So,
yeah.
But I mean, Slash was at many Candy shows back in the day. I remember seeing him a couple of shows, and Matt, who came in later, I knew Matt really well. We played a lot of shows together back in like the Madame Wong's days and stuff. So.
Right. And you did a couple solo albums on Virgin.
Yes, I did.
What was Cure Me or Kill Me?
Cure Me or Kill Me. Yeah. Tijuana Jail was Pawn Shop Guitars. Yeah, all the GNR guys. Even Axl was on that record.
Right. That's right, man.
So, yeah, we keep busy over the years.
And then you, of course, did the Rockstar Supernova.
Rockstar Supernova with Tommy, and then I did a couple tours playing guitar for Heart.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, the MC5.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. MC5 did a reform where they called it DKT MC5.
I remember that. I didn't know you were a part of that.
Yeah, I played guitar in that. Yeah.
How awesome was that? Played with Wayne Kramer. Jeez.
Best guitar music ever written is the MC5, man. The best.
The originators.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very
but
cool.
just great guitar music, and when you listen to those records, it's really hard to distinguish parts because they were so messy.
Right.
So when getting in there with Wayne and really learning those parts, I was like, oh my, I could do this for the rest of my life. I'd be a happy man.
That's awesome. And of course, you're doing the August 15th at Irvine Meadows, the Cathouse live special. Now, you're doing the All-Star Jam.
Yes.
Is there anything you could tell us about that?
Well, I'll tell you that's going to be good. I'm still getting my yes and no's back from people. I mean, what I'm really trying to do is put together a really great core band, and then we're going to have different guests. We'll be pulling a lot of guys, that are here, as guests and things like that. But I got a couple good guitar players on the line that aren't a part of it. They're going to be doing it. But people keep changing their mind. Last week I had 2 great guys, and this week they dropped out. So, I don't want to announce people that might not show up, but it's going to be great. It'll be worth sticking around, after Extreme plays.
Absolutely. It'll be a lot of fun. So what else you got going on? You got, obviously you got the
Well,
solo
I got my
band
solo
playing
band
too,
we're
right?
playing, and we have another band called Kings of Chaos. That's myself, Matt, and Duff from GNR.
Oh, wow.
And it's a great, greatest hits package. We've played, we've done shows really all over the world. We've had, actually, Nuno was in the band for a while with Steven Tyler. We had Slash in the band. We had Corey Taylor. We've had Ed Rowland from Collective Soul. We've had Steve Stevens, Glenn Hughes. So it's like an all-star band that we've been doing shows over the last 3 years. We're playing July 29th at the Fillmore in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
That's our next show.
Got any LA shows set
Nope,
up?
nothing.
Oh.
It's an expensive package, so
Yeah, I can imagine.
it's a big ticket package. So.
Very cool. Well, again, Gilby, man, it's a pleasure.
Right on, man.
And we'll see you. We'll see you at the Cathouse show.
It's gonna be a good time.
All
man.
right.
Brad is actually here right now.
I don't have the white disease.
Whoa! Give me that. I want to see some tiny intro. Give me some boom. Give me some boom, bro. This is gonna make us money.
Ask Robert who his favorite celebrity animals are.
His animal lovers.
All right, everybody, whip your out. Everybody, whip it out. We'll be right back.
See, now it's...
Let's do a couple things. Ready?
Action.
Or who
Oh, monsters! Monsters!
You.
Oh, that means me.
It's gonna take the unreal mind.
To be honest with you, I like being down there a little more because my head was...
Candy corn monsters, boom!
Hi, I'm Kristen Renton, and I don't know what I'm saying. This one's World Animal Days.
Right, here we go. Oh, I'll just... It's on a real wall.
I mean, unless you fake it. I had a contest on night calls, and they were all peeing everywhere. Everyone's like, "Can I get another Diet Coke?" Yeah.
We want to do more.
Inside Metal Show on TradioV. We got the guys in Little Caesar here. We got the drummer Tom. Hey. Ron Young on vocals.
And Pharaoh, the bass player. The big man here. Yes.
So, dude, Little Caesar back in action. Of course, what was the 89 that album came out on Geffen? 90. It was 90.
Yes.
And a fantastic album. Of course, yeah, it was good, some good stuff. I know at the time you guys had a huge bidding war. You guys were the hot band. After Guns N' Roses got signed.
Kiss of Death.
Yeah,
Next big thing.
Next big thing. We're talking. And that wasn't you guys saying that. That was the industry talking about it.
No, we knew better. We knew it was a Kiss of Death. Whatever.
But I remember seeing you many times at Gazzari's and many of the clubs, and fantastic vocalists. You had much more of a blues edge than a lot of the Hollywood
We were
bands.
trying to just be a straight-ahead blues bass, classic bass rock band, not a pop metal band.
And of course,
not that
everyone-
there's anything wrong, right? Just hearkening back to our roots a little bit more. Right. Trying to be a little grittier, a little bit more down to earth, a little less spectacle. You know?
Yeah, and of course, Chain of Fools, the single that you did, the old Franklin song. But the whole album was great. I think that song, obviously got the airplay, but there were so many great songs on that album that really never
Didn't get the light of day.
Yeah.
It's typical music business. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Whatever, at least we got to the plate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's right. And you did an EP afterwards, right? So,
No, the EP was before the...
that was before, okay.
Yeah. On Metal Blade.
Metal Blade, that's right. Mike Fader.
Brian Slagle.
That's right. Okay.
Great guys.
Yeah, very cool. And now you guys are back. So what you guys do in between all this time?
Well, we've now put out a total of, we did the second Geffen release, and then we've done 2 more releases subsequently over the years. We took about 12, 13 years off, but about 2 years ago, it was our last record. We're about to start another record. We do a lot of touring in Europe. We've been over there about 6 times, 7 times now. And, just plugging along, man. We have no delusions of rock stardom. We're just growing our fan base and keeping our fans, longtime friends, happy, enjoying to make music together, and everything that the camaraderie of being
playing in a band can do, and appreciating the blessing of getting to make music one-on-one for people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Pharaoh, when did you join?
I'm the new guy.
I'm the new guy.
Yeah, Fidel couldn't make it, so Ron and I played together in the Four Horsemen way back, '96.
That's right.
So yeah, and he was, I got a guy. He can sing and he can play bass. So.
Yeah, for a tour. And we talked about rekindling the band because Caesar was broken apart at that point. So when Fidel couldn't do this tour and he's got all this stuff going on, it's like, ding, immediately called him.
All right, so you want to go on tour in Europe? I'm like, okay.
I've seen this guy many times. Got to give credit to the Swinging Dictators, the Keeman Brothers.
Yeah.
Another great band. Great band. Seen many times, and definitely one of the best funk rock bass players I've seen. I think he's better than Flea. I'll say that.
Motherfucker's got chops.
Yeah, he definitely does.
And too many chops.
Yes. And you've been
Says the drummer.
Original, or you've been in the band for many years.
Yeah, Tom's
Ron and I
member.
started the band.
Oh, there you go.
We were like the nucleus. He and I actually played in a band prior to Little Caesar, and out of that we were kind of floating around, and then we decided let's put together because we had mutual bands that we like Free, Humble Pie, Bad Company. We just wanted to do like a blues bass, straight up.
So we're
70s rock.
three of the 5 original members, and one of the original guys left after the first record. So we're pretty much the original band, and tapping into family members,
Did you guys feel out of place? Because you definitely come from that old school British R&B.
Back in the day here?
Yeah, I mean, because you guys you were really lumped into, I don't want to say the term hair metal, but
we
kind
are.
of
Because it was LA in that time period. We even played on Hair Nation on Sirius.
Right.
I'm grateful they got 2 of our tracks in heavy rotation for years, but we're not really a hair metal band. Never were. We just wanted to be a rock band. Not that there's anything wrong with hair metal.
I mean, we were of the scene, but we weren't a part of it. We were kind of like independently rehearsing at this little garages behind the Sunset Grill and Guitar Center, and occasionally it would overlap. Like we did a couple shows with LA Guns, but mostly our base club-wise was at Club Lingerie. I mean, we came from more of an
East side
underground,
of Junkyard, Rhino Bucket,
Those were the
Texan
guys.
Horsehead.
Those were the guys we identified with, and so we came more from that. But because we came up during a certain time, it was inevitable that we would, play on other bands that maybe stylistically we didn't really jive with. But
we were just a greasy biker rock band. We weren't,
Well, it's interesting you say, because I just did a DVD, The Inside Metal Pioneers of LA Hard Rock and Metal. It's a series we're putting out, and we talk about a lot of those scenes, because the Hollywood scene was primarily the glam scene. And you guys, did a lot of the Hollywood clubs, but you mentioned East LA. I know there were clubs like Scream,
Scream, all the time.
I remember Jane's Addiction, and all that scene was a whole different scene than the glam scene. You had the East LA, you had a lot of different, the Valley, the country club, and there were so many different styles of music, but it was all kind of focused on glam, and I think,
that's where the corporate got behind.
Exactly.
And so, it was weird because we kind of got looked at as being, well, hey, singer who sings in more of a traditional blues style. Their songs are a little bit more, not so pop-based, but they're more blues and riff-based kind of songs. And it was just weird because people used to look at us like we were weird, and I'm like, we are so derivative straight-ahead rock and roll. It's just kind of strange that you're scratching your head that a bunch of guys who look like you're in a motorcycle gang are singing Motown covers with harmonies. And for me, it's like, I don't know, but Skinnerd and all of these guys who are really wearing jeans and denim and all that, just kind of riding motorcycles, and they were very much influenced by Motown and Stax Volt, and so we just thought we were continuing that, but coming out of LA and looking like we did and working with Bob Rock and coming on Guns N' Roses label, it kind of took people a bit back, and it was kind of strange to us, It's like, I don't think we're so off kilter here, but
it's funny in hindsight thinking that we were considered like really scary and hardcore back then. And I have to say, when I first met Ron before we were
pretty intimidating looking.
Oh, yeah, too, with all the fucking hair and the chains. I had more fucking metal hanging off me than was the king of ornamental overkill.
We were sporting facial hair really early, but when I met Ron in the early 80s, he was already had the back piece fully tattooed and a Harley Davidson way before you started seeing those. When I first saw him, I'm like, fuck, this guy's so, and I knew he'd be a great singer because I heard his voice. wow, it's like so soulful. He doesn't have like one of those operatic high, you know, it's like that Paul Rogers, like blue-eyed soul voice. But like, he just seemed like, whoa, you know, I'd never seen anything like that. Now I kind of look back and it's like, it sort of seemed like, oh, it's all quaint now.
Yeah, well, see, you did really influence that look, because I mean, I remember the first time I saw you in LA, because it was before you guys got signed. Someone said, dude, you got to see this band, Little Caesar, most amazing singer ever. I think it was at Gazzari's, and that was even before Guns N' Roses. They had all the tattoos, real looking. I saw you, and I'm going, wow, dude, this guy's like Angry Anderson with long hair, and they got this
Those dudes with goatees, dude, before Chris Cornell, before any of those. And Geffen used to freak out, what's with the fucking facial hair? John Kalodner, this ain't the fucking 70s. And we're like, dude, that shit's...
Talk about facial hair.
Yeah, I know, but he's like, that's not cool. That's not cool.
When we were out opening on the Kiss Slaughter show, it got back to like, you guys are scaring the kids. You know, like, even like, I remember like Gene would come backstage.
What's with the facial hair?
He goes,
and 6 weeks later, he's got a goatee.
He goes, you guys with the blues rock and the beer, you know. He was
Working
like,
class. Yeah, he was giving a shit about it. You know.
And I bet you blew him off stage every day.
Well, that's what the press would say. But remember, this is pre-internet days, so it took a week for those magazines and newspapers to get back to Geffen. But a little bit of insight, and I'm not in the music biz anymore. Gene Simmons, the Kiss wasn't selling out. Remember, this was No More Makeup, Made in the Shade tour. It was them and Winger and Slaughter. And so they were putting people in the seats. But when Winger dropped off, Slaughter moved up in the slot, they brought us on. Ticket sales kind of went down. So Gene needed to get Winger back out, who needed to go and record one more song for their album. So Gene called up David Geffen and Jimmy Iovine and said, they're going over like pork chops at a bar mitzvah.
Oh, yeah.
Classically great. I got to give them props. That's a great fucking line. But then, you know, so to get us off the tour and bring them back out. But then the press started coming out saying we were the only real rock band, and we delivered the goods. Great live show. You know, it's politics, man. Politics and commerce. And I didn't take it personally.
Well, the great thing is you guys are back together.
Yes.
And you must have inspired, because I mean, nowadays that scene, especially going on in England, the whole, you know, blues rock revival. You see so many bands, particularly out of there, and I can see why you guys are big in Europe now.
Yeah.
Seeing that revival going on is, and now that you're back,
it warms our Asian hearts.
Yeah, I mean, like,
it's good. It's just good to see. It's good to see, you know, more traditional blues, you know, those kind of scales, those kind of singers. You know, and this kind of music's making a comeback too. You know, with the more, as technically the mask voice, operatic. You know, it's just good that there's rock and roll, you know, kind of coming around again and coming around again. Enough staring at your shoes or the hey singers.
Yeah, I mean, Europe's, you know, really a great haven for not only bands like us that are just straight up rock and roll, but, you know, where else would you have a festival like Wacken where you've got like ultra heavy, like, you know, pure metal, and just thousands of people just descend on these European festivals. And, you know, you really don't have that out here. You know, you got like the cruises, and, you know, but it's just not, it's not quite the same. They're just so loyal out there, and they don't care about, like, you know, how old you are. I mean, you know, if you deliver the goods, they're there.
How much you talk during radio interviews.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, here you got the traveling, the Mayhems, and all that. It seems like they have the same bands, the same revolving bands on every single one of those tours.
But ticket sales are dropping, and they're going to have to come up with something to make those more interesting as well.
Well, that's why we got the Cathouse show.
That's right. That's right.
August 15th, and speaking about diverse bills, you won the bill, which is really a diverse
awesome, and our buddies, in fucking, you know, in Junkyard, LA Guns, it's just a whole bunch of buddies, man. So we're looking forward to it.
So coming out August 15th, see these guys, Little Caesar, and a slew of other great bands at the Cathouse
just
Live.
Right before the cutoff.
Right before the
cutoff. Yeah, right at the end. We just made it through those subway doors.
Cool, it's a pleasure, Ron Young.
Pleasure's ours. Thanks
Thank you very much.
Pleasure, guys.
Yeah. Thank you.
Grant, I'm Grant Reynolds. I don't know what to do with my hands.
I mean, this is pretty much just like the same thing. Oh, wait, this is...
No one wants to see her ninny goats.
like a bear. He's like a big bear,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Like, yeah.
Let me
Hold on, we'll start.
If you don't like the right pizza, go yourself.
You never know who's shooting
Absolutely,
I think
Jason
that my show
Stewart.
is better than yours. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
The only thing that masks alcohol while you're driving is peanuts.
Have lots of when you're drinking.
Wouldn't be the first time Langdon had Skippy in his mouth.
Isn't that your dog?
TradioV! Get in the car. Throw another log on the fire. It's not hot enough back here.
TradioV, radio and TV.
Ay, ay, ay!
TradioV Inside Metal Show with Stevie Rachelle from Tuff. How are you doing, my friend?
Hey, Bob. How are you? Thanks for having me, man.
Doing good. You're doing the big show August 15th at the Cathouse.
We
There they
are.
And of course, it's just great to see you guys back together. I know you guys have been off and on doing shows here and there. You got pretty much the original, well, I know Gillette was the original singer, I believe, from
Technically,
all the
yeah.
old Arizona guys, right? You got Chase back, Todd Burr.
Well, yeah, the band, the original singer was Jim Gillette, who went on to Nitro. Obviously, I came in '87, so I would be considered, I guess, the classic lineup singer. Todd Chason is the bassist. He formed the band. He left at one point, but he's been back in the band for, God, I think it's about 8 years now. So Chase is on bass, I'm singing, obviously, and drummer that we've been using for the last, I don't know, I think decade or more off and on is Todd T. Burr. Now, he goes back to the Sunset Strip as well. He was actually in Rockney.
Oh, wow!
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
They had the flyer where they were jumping and they were all kind of like in midair in the flyer. So T was in Rockney on the Strip in the 80s, but his affiliation to Tuff didn't come until late, like 2001, when I put out American Hair Band. When I put out that Kid Rock parody, I ended up needing a drummer at some point, and T filled the spot. And what's funny is that previous to that, for about a decade, T was in Substance D and Black with Chase, just as he had left Tuff to form that, basically a thrash kind of metal band.
Yeah.
So all came full circle.
Very cool, very cool. Now, I've been seeing a lot on Facebook. A lot of people were asking, this documentary DVD, Tough Luck, that is not the band Tuff.
No.
That's a different, okay.
No,
I know they did some screening yesterday, and a lot of people were talking about, oh, Tuff did a documentary, but that is a different.
No, that's a different band. They're from Florida, called Tough Luck, spelled Tuff. And I know they had put out an indie record like a long time ago. I mean, like 88, 89. And then they kind of disappeared. But they did a documentary, which I had heard about on Facebook as well. And then I saw something that they were going to be in LA, but it's no affiliation with us whatsoever.
Okay, cool. But of course, you guys, you've done tons of shows, a lot of big festivals. And now this is your first time coming back to LA in quite some time, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the last 10 years, we've played a handful of shows, but it usually was like, we played Crew Fest at the Whiskey, which is kind of like a Motley Crue tribute kind of thing. We've done that a few times, but we have played on some of the other ones across the U.S. Like we've been on M3 out on the East Coast. We've been on the Monsters of Rock cruise. We've done a few things in and around the Midwest. A thing called Rock and Skull, which is south of Chicago. And being on Cathouse Live with all these bands. I mean, it's a couple dozen bands, all who had at least a song or two that somebody from that era is familiar with. And being involved is a big deal, and I'm excited for it and thankful to Riki and Live Nation and everyone else for it.
Absolutely. You've been busy as well. I know this is the man behind Metal Sludge, the website you've been doing for several years now. You also had your own label and other stuff you were working on.
Well,
too.
yeah. I started RLS Records in '94, and that was after we had signed our deal and lost it with with Atlantic. We'd signed and lost a deal with IRS Grand Slam. At one point we had a thing with BMG RCA through an indie label out of Europe called MMS Mausoleum.
Oh yeah.
And you know, after a handful of like record deals that went by the shitter, if I can say that, I was like, screw this, I'm forming my own record label called RLS Records, which really stood for Record Labels Suck Records, which is kind of an oxymoron because I'm a record label. But RLS was formed, had an alternate meaning, which was Rachelle's lyrics and songs, and that was 21 years ago, and since then I put out about 50 pieces. And not only a lot of tough stuff and indie stuff, but I put out stuff of other bands that I thought deserved it that didn't get it somewhere else. I did a Wild Side record. They had a record on Capitol many people knew about. I did a Jim Gillette's.
That was the Odin singer, right?
No.
Randy O, that was another.
Randy O was in Lost Boys. I did Jim Gillette's solo record, Proud to Be Loud, which was released pre-Nitro. And when he did that, it was only on vinyl and cassette. And then many years later, I remained friends with Jim. I said, let me put this out. So we remastered it, repackaged it. I bought photos from the infamous Glenn LaFerman, who he had some great Nitro photos with Jim and Michelangelo with the quad neck guitar. So we packaged a great piece, and you know, the label thing was something that I wanted to do. I just didn't want to rely on anybody, and I said to myself, I'm going to put out my own records, and I also helped out other guys that I felt deserved it. Wild Side, Nitro, I did something with John Corabi's Angora, Jailhouse, Tommy Gun. You know, I just felt like some of those bands on the Strip were deserving of having a piece, you know, and at one point we packaged records.
Vinny from Tommy Gun. Vinny and his twin brother, right?
Vince was the singer and Marty was the guitarist, twins from Chicago, exactly. So I did that. Metal Sludge is obviously still online, something I created with a partner.
They did a great review of the movie Metal Sludge since '98. When was it you started?
Summer of '98 is when the idea was kind of born, and it's been, 17, 18 years now. And it's kind of evolved. I mean, the early years of Sludge was a little different. When me and my partner started it, it was kind of like, we kind of had a plan, and we also decided to do it anonymously, and that was kind of like, okay, The Masked Magician. Now, everybody remembers that show. This guy would like tell a magic trick, but he's wearing a mask. You really don't know who's like telling the secrets. Or another thing I kind of compared it to was back in the day, for anybody over 40 or 50, the Unknown Comic. Remember the guy used to do the comedy act with a paper bag, and nobody really knew who he was. And even in Guns N' Roses, Buckethead for all those years, a lot of people were like, they don't know who Buckethead is.
Right.
It's just a guy that wears a bucket and a raincoat, and he plays guitar in Guns N' Roses, but really nobody knows who the fuck he is. Or so that was the deal. And so Metal Sludge, when we did it, was kind of like, let's anonymously do this website and then come up with this moniker of who we are. These little tricky names, you know, Janie Von Neal and Ozzy Stillborn and Kami Sex Slaughter, and it was all hairband stuff. It was fun. It was also a kick in the ass when the industry and that era needed it. Right. And we did it. And at one point, you know, kind of evolved and changed, and I'm the guy.
It's a great site. So, why don't you put, of course, metalsludge.com and
it's .com or .tv or metal-sludge.com. There's a few domains that all go to the same spot. You know?
Very smart, very cool. And of course, August 15th, you can see Tuff at Irvine Meadows, a classic Irvine Meadows. This year going to be your first time at Irvine?
I mean, I've been there, but I've never graced the stages.
There you go.
And it may be, side stage for Tuff, but regardless, we're going to be at Irvine Meadows on August 15th, Saturday, with 24 bands, all from the era, and I think everybody knows at least 1 to 3 songs from all those cool bands. So
there you go, man. Definitely check them out. August 15th, Tuff. Thank you, Stevie. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob.
You got it.
1986, when we were only 9 years old, Tammy and I opened up the Cathouse, which was a great rock and roll dance club. That the rule was we had no bands play, and then this band Guns N' Roses wanted to play, and Faster Pussycat, and everybody wanted to play. And if you saw the movie in the Metal Years, the cliche of it being about raunch and roll and sleaze and debauchery and us going there to meet girls and get free drinks, that honestly was why it started. We had no idea that it would take off to be what it did, but obviously it ended up being very, very successful. And I've been wanting to do something like this for a long time, and I talked to John Reese from Live Nation, saying, dude, I want to do a big Cathouse show. I want to do a big Cathouse show. Whatever. So I gave up on rock and roll, moved to North Carolina, and then John calls me, dude, let's do a Cathouse show. Okay, so I partnered up with Live Nation, and we have put together what I think is a really, really cool rock show. We kept all the prices really low, and I know it's going to sound like a cliche, especially now that I guess I'm in a promoter position, but the main aspect of this whole show is for people to have fun. We've got bands from all different types of genres, from bands that sold millions of records, for bands that sold 10,000 records. No, I think every band sold more than that. But bands that were just really important for the Cathouse. I'm very proud of the lineup that we had. I'm very excited to see what Gilby's going to put together for the All-Star Jam. A lot of the bands I hadn't seen for a while. When I show up here and I see, you know, the guys in Junkyard and Little Caesar, to me it's like a homecoming to see these guys. And Black and Blue was one of the bands that played the first Cathouse. And when it came to putting on Sebastian and Tom Kiefer and Extreme, it was kind of a no-brainer because it's not about just bands that played the Cathouse. It's a band that represented a rock scene. You will never hear me use that term hair metal because I hate that term. But what we played is all the music is different here, but we all played really cool rock and roll. The problem is trying to put this into a venue that'll fit 15,000 people and also include the sleaze and debauchery that we had at the Cathouse. So we're working on that, and that's gonna be fun. You know, we've got it choppers out. Roofies is one of the things, and I didn't get the opportunity to thank all the bands that are playing it and all of you people for showing up. But I could not be more excited. It feels good to be back home because, like I said, I don't live out here anymore. But I'm really, really excited. For a lot of people, it's going to be a homecoming. I really want to thank the Magliaries for letting us use the whiskey for the Battle of the Bands, for letting the Rainbow put this billboard. So when I see pictures on the internet with Cathouse and the Rainbow sign in it, it's just like, it couldn't be more perfect. Because probably most of the bands here at one point have been thrown out of the Rainbow. So it's nice that the Rainbow and whiskey have kind of partnered up with us. And we're very, very excited. Tammy was my roommate when I started the Cathouse. I wouldn't have the Cathouse if it wasn't for Tammy, which wouldn't have led me probably to Headbangers Ball. I hate to give this guy so much fucking credit, but I owe him a real lot. Gilby Clarke was there since day one and has always, at the drop of a hat, been able to play any show we put on from the time that he was just in Candy to the point that he was in Guns N' Roses. He's never let me down. So, and I have good stories with most of the bands here, and I'm sure we'll have good stories. And what I didn't tell the band is, I didn't tell any of the bands here, but I'm making a rule that there's going to be no encores, and because everybody's got such limited time on stage, forget the encore stuff. Just play rock and roll.
No
and we're going to have
no whining.
What?
No drum solo. No whining.
No whining. No drum solo. But
Riki, from the bands to you, thank you for all of this.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. I mean, I'd love to take credit for the Cathouse and for all that stuff that happened, but the truth is, if I didn't have I just happened to be lucky enough to have bands as friends that just ended up selling 1 million records, so I got to just ride on everybody's coattails, and all the other bands that played the Cathouse, you know, it was great, and I could not tell you how excited I am, how happy I am to be working with Live Nation, so we can do a show like this on a much greater scale. Because if we did Riki Rachtman's Cathouse Festival, it'd be a really good show in front of about 1,000 people. But because we're doing it with Live Nation, we're bringing in some bands that I was not in contact with, bands like Extreme. And we're also doing Irvine Meadows. And do not call it Verizon, because we all went to Irvine Meadows, and it's going to be called Irvine Meadows for that night. And again, thank you, everybody. Post the hell out of this thing. Tickets are real cheap, and so are we. So.
All right. Thanks again for watching the Cathouse Special here on the TradioV Inside Metal Show. Don't forget to support Inside Metal, out on DVD now, The Pioneers of LA Hard Rock and Metal, Part 1 and 2. Be sure to check it out. I am Bob Nalbandian, your host. We're going to be back to a regularly scheduled program next Tuesday. Catch all the TradioV Inside Metal shows every Tuesday at 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, right here, TradioV.com.
You are watching TradioV, Radio and TV.